To welcome everybody to the March 14th Village Board meeting. At this time, I'd like to ask everybody to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence for our armed forces serving throughout the world. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, tonight we're opening up with a public hearing, introductory local law 2 of 2019, tax cap override. Desiree, could you please read the notice?
A public hearing is being held on introductory local law 2 of 2019 to override the tax cap limit for fiscal year 1920 if necessary. The public notice was printed in the Times Herald Record on March 5th, 2019.
Thank you. This is a public hearing we do every year for a local law to override the tax cap for the upcoming fiscal year. This is a cautionary maneuver in the event that we exceed the tax cap. I hope that it won't be necessary, but anyway, at this time, I'm going to open it up to the public. Anybody in the second row? Anybody in the third row? Anybody at all? Okay, being that there are no further comments, may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. The board will be not acting on this issue until after the preliminary budget is finalized and is determined if the law is necessary. So, moving right along to administrative business, may I have a motion to accept the minutes from our meeting held February 28, 2019?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Des, could you read abstract 19?
Abstract 19 contains vouchers 181733 through 181828 and totals $273,285.63.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Motion to approve abstract 19.
I'll make that motion.
I'll
And
say. Well, go ahead.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We need to schedule a special joint meeting with the town, so may I have a motion to schedule a special meeting to be held on March 25th, 2019 at 7 p.m. at Village Hall. This meeting will be held jointly with the town board. The purpose is to discuss a possible settlement of the lawsuit the town brought against the village in early 2018.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, old business. We need to do an addendum to the consultant agreement we have with VHB, and that's for the Hotel Overlay District. So may I have a motion to authorize the mayor to sign an amendment number 1 to the VHB contract for the consultant work they are doing for the zoning amendments and seeker in relation to the Hotel Overlay District. The amount of the amendment is $15,300.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. New business. We will be entering into an agreement with Value Payment Systems to enable the village to accept credit cards for the payment of water usage bills. There will be no cost to the village for this service. Clerk Potvin was able to negotiate a fee structure that will be charged to residents who choose to pay by credit card. The fee structure will be 2.95% of the bill with a minimum of $1.95. So may I have a motion to authorize me to sign the agreement with Value Payment Systems?
I'll make
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next up, we have a resolution about Think Differently. Desiree, could you please read the resolution?
This resolution is calling for the Village of Woodbury, its residents and business owners to adopt the Think Differently initiative to assist individuals with special needs and their families. Whereas the Think Differently initiative is about promoting awareness and acceptance of all people and advocating for the inclusion of all individuals living on the autism spectrum and with special needs. And whereas our state and communities are stronger because of our diversity and differences. And whereas according to the Center for Disease Control, over 55 million people, or approximately 19% of Americans, have a type of disability or special need. And whereas for some people with special needs, the very things that make them unique can also keep them on the sidelines, separate from those who might not understand their differences or uniqueness. And whereas it is important to promote and provide guidance to those with special needs on how to access publicly supported services available to them in the community. And whereas it is important to encourage and educate the community and businesses on ways to make them, they can make facilities and services more accessible, on how to train staff to welcome and support special need customers and coworkers. And whereas the goal of this initiative is to provide a supportive and inclusive environment for individuals of all disabilities by supporting community events that expand family-friendly opportunities for people with special needs and their families. And whereas adopting the Think Differently initiative is an important statement with our village officials, business owners, and residents can show their support for the differently abled children and adults with special needs and their families. Now therefore be it resolved by the Village of Woodbury Board of Trustees to urge its residents and business owners to adopt the Think Differently initiative so that all are better prepared to communicate with, provide for, and support those living on the autism spectrum and with special needs.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I want to give a shout out to Trustee Giacomazza for the Think Differently initiative that he brought to the table and pushed for. So with that, I'm going to ask for a motion to adopt the resolution calling on the Village of Woodbury, its residents and business owners to adopt the Think Differently initiative.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
I guess they don't want me to talk much.
I already said it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we received a notification from the planning board that the declaration as lead agency on the application before them known as 345 Ridge Realty LLC for a 3-lot subdivision of a parcel of land containing approximately 11.8 acres known as Section 204, Block 1, Lot 14.2 on the village tax maps located with frontage along Ridge Road within the Village of Woodbury in Orange County. So a motion to authorize the village clerk to respond to the notice on behalf of the village board that they consent to the planning board serving as lead agency for the application known as 345 Ridge Realty LLC.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Also, notice was received on February 25th, 2019, that the Taco Express and Deli located at 514 Route 32 Highland Mills is applying for a liquor license from the New York State Division of Alcoholic Beverages Control, State Liquor Authority. A letter was sent to the police department to determine if there was any reason why the village should object to this application being approved, and they stated there have been no significant incidents that would prohibit the application. So Desiree, could you please send a letter to the State Liquor Authority indicating the village board has no objection to the application? Okay. Well, that concludes our business for this evening. I just want to make an announcement. After we adjourn the meeting tonight, we will be entering into an attorney-client session after we adjourn the meeting tonight. So with that, I'm going to go out to public comment. Anybody in the second row? Anybody in the third row?
Good evening, Joe Zlatis, Central Valley. I just wanted to raise a concern. in regards to the potential for the well-intentioned decisions of the planning board to be circumvented.
I'm sorry, Joe, you cut out. I couldn't hear you.
I just wanted to raise...
You could take the mic out because you're a tall guy and...
Just wanted to raise a concern in regards to what I believe is the potential for the well-intentioned decisions of the planning board being circumvented. I'm going to use this as an example, but by no means is it meant to represent just this one particular situation. Recently, there was a home within a development in Woodbury Villas known as Pomona Enterprises that went in front of the ARB to propose a 5,790 square foot home. This was exclusive of the almost 3,200 square feet in the basement and was just shy of the 35-foot maximum requirement in height. After some back and forth, going through the minutes, it looks like the homeowner has withdrew the application, and instead, they're going to move forward with the previously approved design. My concern is that once this home is complete, there is nothing to prevent the homeowner from then back to the building department and requesting a building permit to add an extension to the home. Pretty much ending with the result he desired to begin with. I don't know if there's anything that can be done about this, whether there's any village code. I went through the code, I didn't see anything that would prevent it. But I would think that maybe it's time to consider looking at some type of limitations in terms of the time that would be required between CO being initially given for a new home and the time that someone could come and apply for a permit to extend that home. You know, again, I know the planning board tries hard to make sure that provisions of building codes are being provided for, and I just think that this is a loophole in the whole process that allows unscrupulous people, and again, I'm using this as an example, but it can happen anywhere in the village, to circumvent those intentions. Thank you.
Thank you. We will take a look at that.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Anybody else in the third row? Anybody in the fourth row? Anybody at all? Okay. Rob, do you have anything you would like to? I do not. Do not. All right, go back this way. I know, Rick, you don't have anything. Okay. Trustee Giacomanza?
Yes.
I've been practicing.
All right, so during our campaign, the biggest question that Jesus and I faced was not about consolidation or one municipal building. The biggest question we faced was, did the town supervisor really initiate a lawsuit against the taxpayers of Woodbury? Our response was, yes, the town supervisor did initiate a lawsuit against the taxpayers of Woodbury. This litigation against the hardworking taxpayers of Woodbury by the supervisor of Woodbury honestly became the biggest issue we answered during our campaign. Because of this lawsuit against the taxpayers of Woodbury by the supervisor, I am imploring residents to come out on Monday, March 25th at 7 p.m. It's here at Village Hall, to hear the supervisor's answers about why he initiated this lawsuit on the taxpayers of Woodbury. Unfortunately, there will not be any public comment at this meeting about the supervisor's sanctioned lawsuit against the taxpayers of Woodbury, but it is open to the public, and if you should have any questions, please feel free to come up to myself or Jesus beforehand, and we'll direct those questions at the supervisor about his lawsuit against the taxpayers of Woodbury. So once again, that's Monday, March 25th, here at 7 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Gomez?
Thank you all for coming out, for participating, and thank you.
Trustee Flood?
Well, we lost a beloved citizen this week, Herman Galbraith. Just wanted to acknowledge his community service. It was interesting listening to the rabbi today, and in their faith, one of the things they try to do is give back to the community. And I think at a time when, because of what's going on with the town and the village, at the time we get more unity and come together, and one way to do that is through community service. So sad to lose a friend, but also learn some things today at his service. But I think it's a high time that we come together, and at a time when we really should be unified. It's a shame that some folks have decided to separate us. That's all I have.
Thank you. Trustee Egan?
Two quick things. One, I agree with Trustee Giacomazzo that people should definitely try and come out and listen to hear everything that's discussed. I don't want to say I fought for this to be open to the public, but I implored both the mayor and the town supervisor that this should be open to the public so that everything can come out into the light of day and people can hear exactly what's going on. So I urge people to attend. Also, Joe, I was at that planning board meeting and I was curious about that too and concerned, and we'll definitely get into that. Thanks.
Thank you. Desiree, you have anything? No, really?
You still typing?
I can if you want.
Well, you want to say something? Go ahead. Packer update, anything?
No Packer update, but bye-bye, Beckham Jr. No. I also want to speak about Herman a little bit. I worked with him on the Historical Society shortly, and I was a Lion member several years ago, and he was a line member at that time, and he also volunteered for the ambulance, and I'm sure there's a lot more other things that he volunteered with, but those were the things that I was working with him with regards to that, not the ambulance, but I know he was on there. So he will be missed. He used to be the courier a long time ago. We used to record our meetings onto an actual VHS, and he would come and transport those VHSs to the vendor that would transpose them onto DVDs so that we can air the meetings on Channel 22. So I used to see him quite regularly during that pick up and drop off period. So he will be missed, but he's with his wife now, and that's a good thing. The Chamber of Commerce will be holding another sip and paint backed by popular demand. You asked me to say something. On April 30th at the Savory Grill again, it is $40 per person. It includes a beer, wine, or soda, and van sales are available through myself at Town Hall or here. Information's on the Chamber's website. Also, save the date, January 19th, July 19th, thank you, is the murder mystery that the Chamber does every year. This year's theme is TV Land Terra. So there'll be some people there from the Honeymooners and I Love Lucy and whatnot. So save the date for that.
You sure you don't want to talk about Halloween or anything? No?
There will trunk or treat will be held, but we're still working on those plans.
Okay, thank you. I have nothing. I just hoping that spring comes fast, and it looks like we're going to get a taste of it tomorrow. So anyway, with that, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you and good night.